Hello viewers, welcome back to our YouTube channel, KC Accountants Education Center. And today we want to look at a new topic, and we are going to focus on what we call the securities and financial markets. So we are going to look at securities and financial markets as our new topic. Securities and financial markets. Securities and financial markets as our new topic. So today we are going to look at securities, and when I say securities, I'm referring to what we call the financial instruments. Financial instruments. So when I talk about securities, I'm basically referring to financial instruments. And the financial instruments, they are the ones that are traded in the financial markets. So the topic is financial instruments and financial markets. We want to look at the instruments or the items, the financial items, and where they are sold. So financial instruments and financial markets. So the way you were taught financial markets at your level 2 is the same way we are looking at them even here at level 3. And there is nothing that I'm going to add on that is new to what you know. So because it is going to be the same thing and we are going to be basically using the same knowledge, so we are going to pick out the things that I see they are very important as far as this paper is concerned. But basically, you can also use the same knowledge that you got on level 2. It will be the one that will help you to understand most of these things. So we shall look at, after looking at that, we shall also look at the finance decision. We shall look at the finance decision. And now securities actually link to, these securities, they link to the finance decision because that's where we are getting the money from. So the securities that we are talking about here, they are the ones that will lead us to the financing decision or the finance decision. So these securities, they are the ones that are going to help us to finance our activities. In other words, it's the source of money that we are going to use to finance our investments. Now, the financing instruments that we are going to mainly focus on, they are the ones that are of long term. They are long term in nature. Long-term financial instruments. So we are basically going to focus on the long-term financial instruments because they are the ones that are going to help us to finance our long-term investment ideas. So these are the sources of finance, or the sources of funds that we are going to use in our investment projects. Now, when we do what we call the investment decision or what we call the capital expenditure, the capital expenditure, they put it in a form as capex. It is put as capex in, our, it's abbreviated as capex to mean a capital expenditure. So this is what we do under capital budgeting decision, or what we call the investment decision. So when we are looking at capital budgeting decision as the investment decision, then you need to look at the different sources, or you have to look for the money to be able to finance these decisions. Because you have made a decision, maybe you are going to invest in real estate, but you have to look for finance that is going to help you in that kind of investment that you have selected. So, ideally, this topic should have come at actually after when you have completed capital budgeting decision, because it's until when we are done with that capital budgeting decision that we can know which investment ideas that we are going to basically look at, that we are going to look for their finances to fund those different projects. So, but either way, we need to get this straight, that the sources of finance that we are looking for, first of all, they are long-term in nature. Two, these sources of finance, they are the ones that we are basically going to look at where they are traded, either they are stock market or they are capital markets or money markets, as we shall be able to see. So, after looking at the finance decision, we shall finalize with what we call the financial markets, because we need to first look at the sources of finance themselves, then we see where can we find the sources of finance, and those are the financial markets. So we want to see what are some of the areas where the examiners examined some of these numbers. So I want to give you reference numbers for the questions that are rotating around securities and financial markets, or what we call the financial instruments and then the financial markets. So let's look at the reference questions, or what we call the trial numbers. Let me just use trial numbers that are basically on this. So we have question 4, part A, May 2019. We have question 3, part B, November 2019. We have question 3, part C, November 2019. We have question 5, part C, August 2019. We also have question 5, June 2022. We also have question 2, part B, August 2018. We also have question 2, part B, November 2019. 2019, no, this is 2017. Can also look at 2017. Then the one for 2019, the other question is question 5, part D. Then this is June 2019. You can also look at question 3, December 2021. There are very many questions. Then finally, if you want to look at more, then you can also look at maybe question 5, November 2011. There are very many questions that you can look at. Some of the questions that I'm not providing here, some of them we are going to do them in our revision. So don't say that we are not seeing 2023, 2022. Some of the questions we are going to have the revision sessions at where we are going to be analyzing some of those different aspects. But I want you to start from, because I told you at least you should get past papers that are 2018 to date. This was November, I think, November or August, because the new examiner started in November 2019. November 2019 for this paper. So let's now look at the finance decision. So I want you to see that some of these things that we are going to be talking about, they are really examinable questions, and I want you to pay attention to them. I bring some of these in the very beginning because I want you to get them first before we go to the computations that will take some of our time. So the earlier you do it, the better. So we are going to look at the finance decision. We talk about a little bit, we are not going to go into deeper into what we covered on level 2, but we are going to pick out some of the key things that we think may be important for this very paper, basing on these different questions that have been set. So let's meet in the next video as we are talking about the finance decision.